Yeah. Black Brothers View, Black Brothers View, DL get runs Black Brothers View, Black Brothers View, Black Brothers View. Yeah, we going live Facebook and YouTube. Black Brothers View, Black Brothers View, DL get runs Black Brothers View, Black Brothers View, Black Brothers View. You better stay tuned to Black Brothers View. Black brothers helping each other, sharing their views from cover to cover. Eclectic topics, yeah, different perspectives, yeah, keeping it popping, always respected. Facebook and YouTube, Friday nights at 9, we sharing and learning, yeah, we transforming.
How y'all doing? How you doing? How you doing, my people? And welcome to another broadcast of BBV TV, Black Brothers View. I am your host, DL Gitron, coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia. Our producer, Mark Peterson, is coming to you from Virginia, the VA. Listen, we are happy that you are with us here tonight. This platform is where Black brothers are able to come, their voice is respected, their voice is valued, their perspective is respected, their voice is valued, and transformation takes place through communication. And so tonight, we have two awesome guests, and our focus for tonight is educators on edge. We're getting ready to go back into school. It's back to school time. And the parents and the students are not the only ones on edge. Educators are on edge too. So we're going to talk to them about it and try to give you some perspective and give you some outlooks moving forward, how to have a good and a successful year and a positive year. All right. So if you don't mind, would you please like, would you please share, and would you please subscribe? All right. Bring in some others to the conversation. And we have a cash prize we're going to be giving out to someone real shortly. But right now, without further ado, tonight, I want to first introduce to you none other than Leon DeBerry. Leon. And Leon DeBerry is my frat brother from Benedict College, the Gamma Pi chapter. Are you there, Leon?
I'm here.
Awesome. There you go, man. Yes, sir. Leon DeBerry, introduce yourself to everybody, man.
My name is Leon DeBerry. I'm an educator here in Richmond County, which is the Augusta, Georgia area. This particular school year will be my 26th year as an educator. It is something I'm very passionate about, have always been passionate about. Even in the midst of what we're enduring now, you know, it's still a passion.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, man, 26 years and you're still doing it strong and can still speak the word passion with a smile on your face in a pandemic. That's a good thing.
Oh yeah, yeah, man.
Real good thing. So you're the right one tonight for helping everybody go back with a positive mind in the midst of the pandemic. So our next guest is none other than another brother of mine. As I just told you, Leon DeBerry is the Black and Gold Alpha Phi Alpha. And right now, the brother that's coming up is one of my son's godfather. He's Phi Beta Sigma. There's some good guys over there too. All of us under the Greek umbrella. Michael Glover Jr. Give it up for Michael Glover Jr., everybody. Are you there, Mike?
I'm here. How are you doing today?
I am absolutely awesome. Better now that I see you here, man. Good to have you.
I appreciate you letting me on here, man. I love what you're doing, and I enjoy being able to participate.
Well, you are now officially definitely one of the voices of BBV TV. So you might get pulled at any time. You wear so many hats, you might get pulled at any time.
I love it.
Yeah. So introduce yourself to everybody, man.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michael Glover. I am a school administrator in Columbia, South Carolina. I'm happy that I can participate in tonight's discussion.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Listen, everyone, I just told everybody you are a member of the Blue and White Phi Beta Sigma. All of us under the Greek umbrella.
Blue fight.
Oh man, see, Leon, you should have said something. You should have all Leon. So listen, the way we begin each show is to have a little activity, a little game, a little icebreaker. All right. And tonight, the way I'm going to do it is like and hate. What I like and what I hate. That's what we're going to do. And so we're going to go from A to Z, what I like and what I hate. We're going to see who can go the furthest from A to Z. And this is the way you're going to do it. You're going to use the letter A. I like apples. I hate alligators. I like balloons. I hate bats. You got to go from A to Z.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And listen, this is the key part right here. Without you can't pause longer than 3 seconds. No you got to be thinking, man. And the right alphabet, fellas. So
love it.
So the first one to come on is the first one to step up.
Okay.
And that will be none other than DeBerry. So are there any questions?
No, I think I'm good.
Hey, you starting out with you can't do it. Okay, so go from A to Z and share a like and a hate with those letters, and let's see who can get the furthest in the alphabet. All right. So here we go. Ready, Leon, and go.
I like asparagus. I hate ammonia.
Are you serious? Did he
No, I think he's good. I think he's good.
Leon.
Thank you, Michael.
Start over because I'm trying to be fair. Right, last time they got me, so he's like, oh, whatever. So, but you doing that Obama way. I like the way Obama do that. Do it slow, like you know what. So my bad. One more time.
At least I had to swag it in.
Yeah, you did that shit there. Okay, so everybody put that on me. Go one more time and go.
I like apples. I hate ammonia. I like basketball. I hate bunnies. I like cake. I hate crab legs. I like donuts. I hate dolls.
What?
I like elephants. I hate. I'm gonna have to stop right there.
Oh, that's it. I love it. Hey, listen.
Hey, he was smooth with it too. He was
right.
Nice and even, and yeah.
I think I just got to.
I had to do a little pause right there.
Yeah.
I was still thinking.
Strategic pausing over there.
I think I just got an email from Peter that he said you hate dogs. He said he hate dogs. You know, this is a good way to share what you share some more about yourself. But at the very same time, sometimes you throw out something just to make sure you get it in. You did good, man. What you was on E? Was he on E?
Yeah, I think he got to elephants.
Got the elephant. All right, so we give you E. So now here comes the man himself, the principal, y'all. So ready and go.
I like apples. I hate asparagus. I like basketball. I hate balloons. I like candy. I hate cauliflower. I like. God, I couldn't. I was on D that quick. My mind drew a blank, man.
I just knew, Michael, you was gonna get further than I got.
I was supposed to. I was going through it in my mind, and then I just went blank, man. I was already thinking of G's. I was like, hold on, you got D.
You be thinking the next person's gonna go further, but people don't know until you're on the mic at the time.
It is, that
Yeah.
pressure. I think that all the time when I watch like Family Feud, like I'm sitting here answering like, yo, you didn't answer. And yeah, I'm sure when you're under that pressure, man, it's a little different.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And time out, and let me say, half of that wasn't even true. I love balloons, man. I just couldn't think of anything else at the time. So
that will happen, But hey, you kept it moving though. You got your D. You did pretty good. I know for me, that's why some games I love to participate as well, but I like to host them. But I love to participate. But I always tell people, I know from a participator, I don't make it too far sometimes myself. And it's like a big kid when you do though. They're like, man, you only won by one, but I won.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was good, man. I appreciate y'all with that. Listen here. We are the subject, the theme tonight is educators on edge. Peterson, do you have, before we go any further, do you have the John Lewis video prepared? Don't know if he has that or not. I had an opportunity to go this week to Congressman John Lewis laid in state at the Georgia Dome. There was actually 6 days of commemoration for his life, his light and his legacy. Last week, Friday, we had a special salute, did a special show saluting Joseph E. Lowry, C.T. Vivian, and John Lewis, 3 gentle giants that we lost this year. And most recently, John Lewis. And so I had the opportunity to meet him. I had the opportunity to walk and talk with him, at Piedmont Park some years back. And I said the same thing that everybody else has said about him. I mean, as I heard other people speak about him, I'm like, the very same from when taking time, talking with people, so patient, so kind, He never looked at anybody from a big status standpoint. Everybody was just somebody to him. And it was an awesome treasure. I thank God that I had that opportunity. I didn't get an opportunity, many of us didn't walk with or live during the time of Dr. Martin Luther King. We reaped the benefits of a lot that our forefathers have accomplished, but to be able to live in the same city and state with John Lewis and run across him at certain times, but actually to have that opportunity was real special. So I had to go out there amongst with everyone else. We were social distancing on our masks, but to pay respect. And so they're like, he wrote a letter, an essay, his last words to everybody. And he asked for it to be shared in the press on his the day of his services, and they did that. And so I'm trying to share just a portion of the last part of it, if we have it up. If not, I'm gonna encourage you to go listen to it. But do we have it up, Mark?
I don't have it up now, but I'll have it toward the end of the show.
Okay, awesome. So we're gonna move on and just keep me reminded about that. So educators on edge, we are getting ready to go back in school in the midst of this pandemic. Leon, what grade do you teach?
5th grade.
You have 5th graders. Okay. And you've had 5th graders since for 26 years?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Glover, you are a principal at a middle school.
Correct.
Okay. 2 different perspectives. Okay. We got, you're in the classroom, and then you as an administrator. First of all, I would like for y'all to just share some of your thoughts. We had part 1 and we talked about it a little bit, but we want to make sure this show stands alone by itself as well. So Leon, if you could share with us, what are some of your thoughts, anxieties, what's your emotional state right now in the midst of pandemic and hearing that we got to go back to school? And tell us how you all are going, whether you're going virtually or whether you're going in the classroom. So what are your thoughts, man? That's a lot, right?
No, but you know, with this whole pandemic has really just kind of, everyone has had to really do a paradigm shift and really have to get in the frame of mind of realizing that we have to go back, but there are options.
Okay.
But you can't help but approach it with fear, with some fear. But on a school level, all that we can do is to approach it positively, to kind of remind and let parents be at ease, knowing that we're going to do everything possible at the school level to really keep the students safe, just as we always do, but even extra careful now to keep the students safe and healthy. With options in our district, students have the option of either learning virtually or doing face-to-face. And they can make that decision as to which way they want to do. However, the teachers could choose whether they want to do virtually or face-to-face. Of course, I chose face-to-face because I want to be able to see the students, be able to have that connection and develop that relationship that's so important, especially at the beginning of a school year. Building those relationships are very important. And one of the things that I thrive on is, in order to get the students to be able to learn and to understand, you really got to build a relationship with them.
Right.
Especially in this point, you know, students are coming to school fearful. So you have to kind of make them feel at ease, as well as the parents. But our approach as educators needs to be, we need to approach it positively, but we also need to approach it in a way where the students understand that our purpose is still the same, to educate. There are some other duties that, you know, of course, we will need to do as educators, but as educators, we always go above and beyond. That's what we do. And we have to understand that even though we're teaching subjects, but the more important thing is we teach children. Whether they're elementary, middle, or high school, they're still children. And our goal is to teach the whole child, to make sure that they're getting those important things that they need to get. But the first thing is just to make sure that they're safe.
Right.
To reiterate to the parents that safety is our utmost concern, and even our own safety. So it's a task that none of us as educators have ever had to really endure. So it's new for all of us, but we still have to approach it in a way that is welcoming to the students, because we don't want to welcome students in and we're fearful ourselves, because, you know, if you're fearful, it's going to show.
Right.
Yeah. But we want to make sure that they feel comfortable.
How do you do that? You speak about this fear that we all are going to have going in, you know, and you all as educators and students going back into the school system, parents who have a lot of anxiety about their kids going back. You know, I've spoken to many teachers in Florida, Gwinnett County, you know, here in Atlanta, have been petitioning, you know, not to go back, signing waivers, and some of them writing their wills and everything because of the level of their anxiety and their fear. So how do you, with your love and your passion for not only teaching, but for the students, how do you hide your fear to make sure and make that connection and keep them encouraged? What is that process to you?
Well, when students, first of all, making them realize that you care,
Mhm.
that's of the utmost importance,
Mhm.
to make sure that they know that we care about them, and making sure that we know ourselves going in that everything is not going to be picture perfect.
Right.
You know this going in, but
Mhm.
we are approaching it that we're going to go at it 100. We're going to go at it 100. We're going to make sure that the students realize that we're in it to do what we have been called to do.
What helps you get to that place, to have that mind frame, to be able to have that approach? What helps you? What's the process with you by yourself before you can relate us to them?
Well, first of all, to me, it's a belief in God.
Okay.
It's a belief in God, knowing that, when we go in, he's going to take care of us.
Okay. That's good.
And just, and even though students, a lot of us as educators, we say, but really we treat them like they're our own children.
Right.
You treat them as if they are your own. It's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
The way that you care about them is different.
That's good.
And the students will pick it up. They will pick up that you care,
Mm-hmm.
that you want them to feel safe.
You made me think about Joe Brown and Lean on Me. You remember that movie? Yeah. I want to go to, don't lock no doors on that, but he had a different way that he demonstrated his passion and his love for the kids. At the bottom line, he did. He loved them. So I'm gonna come back to you. I definitely understand going into a situation that you feel some anxiety about it yourself, but you have to go and you have to put forth a front and a boldness or confidence while you're still dealing with things, yourself. And it is faith that makes the difference, faith in God. But then at the same time, I hear you speaking about the measurements that you be taking and the precautions and stuff, so that's that walking in wisdom. I'm gonna come back to about the kids in a minute, because what I'm not going to ask you, you have fifth graders. Your kids are, they're going to be graduating soon, and you said you wanted to go in person to be one-on-one with them. So, and dealing with this fear, I can just see students coming up to you, needing assistance with something. Mr. DeBerry, asking you questions. Kids like to touch on you as well, and so I know they've talked about putting up petitions and everything. I don't know how your classrooms. Do you know how your classroom style is going to look? Do you know how does it look?
Pretty much not with the partitions per se, but just making sure that the students have that social distancing, which is something different, because your whole entire instructional, the routines, the ritual and routines that you're normally used to, we do a whole lot of partnering up and a whole lot of group activities.
Right,
which,
pure learning.
Yeah, which you now have to kind of, really, you have to kind of shift. Still learning, but you still have to shift the way we do things. But just, even with that, if students naturally are going to want to touch,
Of course.
and because, and we still have to understand there are students, even during this pandemic and that have been home, that some of them have not experienced the love that others may be getting at home.
A loving teacher right there. I hate you.
So, and it's hard to dismiss that when a child needs it. It's very hard. I can't see myself dismissing that, because you may dismiss that opportunity to love on a child that a child really needs. Right.
Because I see them wanting to hug, but you have some anxiety about the fact that you're too close. I don't need whatever you got on me, but at the same time, you don't want them to feel rejected.
Right.
That I don't want you that close to me. You know, they already get that from other students, you know? And so the teacher who I'm establishing rapport with, I don't need them doing that same thing to me, rejecting me. And even if I know it's because of the pandemic, it comes off, you know, as if I don't want you too close to me. That's a tough thing. And you are a hugger. You're going to be hugging up on the kids,
Yeah.
you know?
And it's hard to push them away,
right?
Because you don't want them to feel like, okay, we already know that we're going to have to maintain social distance. You know, they've heard this in the news, they've heard it, you know, on social media, all of this, but that doesn't take away from their natural instinct to want to love on you. And I think that's a natural instinct that all of us have.
Yeah, the natural instinct to do. I'm getting a little freezing going on, but I don't know whether y'all can. Hopefully, y'all can still hear me good. And the audience, okay, can hear us good. Appreciate that, man. Giving us that perspective from the teacher in the classroom. You know, being able to just see the students and understanding. And most teachers, you know, who've been teaching as long as you have, 26 years, and who go through what it takes to teach. You know, have a love for the kids. Everybody, whoever you want to be in life, you got to go through teachers, you know. And you know, teachers have laid the foundation for all of us. And so now from an administrative standpoint, Michael Glover, as principal, man, what are some of the challenges that you've been facing and you've been dealing with? You know, teachers don't necessarily have to deal with because they're looking to you. What are some of the challenges that you've dealt with emotionally and professionally, just preparing to go back to school? Michael Glover.
It's been a difficult journey, kind of navigating through all of this. You know, personally, my wife and I have a second grader and we have a toddler. And so we're trying to balance and trying to figure out what we're going to do this upcoming school year. Are we comfortable enough sending our son to school? Are we comfortable enough sending our toddler to daycare? We're blessed from the standpoint that you know, my parents are nearby. My dad is retired, and he is been gracious enough to take on the boys if we feel the need to have them go or to keep them out of school or keep them out of daycare, respectively. So we've been very fortunate from that standpoint, but it's difficult. I know that there are a lot of concerns from parents, from students, from the community, and that goes without saying. The e-learning, it was difficult. You know, my wife and I were working from home, and it is, let me tell you, I probably worked harder than I've ever worked and got less accomplished with two kids at home. You know, my wife and I would try to tag team. We're trying to get, you know, my oldest son, trying to get him squared away with school. I'm on a conference call or an admin meeting. She's on a faculty meeting call. Meanwhile, we're trying to feed the 1-year-old, trying to get my other, it is difficult. And both of my wife and I are both in education. So I can only empathize with all those parents out there who do not have the support, you know, and having to make this difficult decision. But all I can tell you is that you have to make the best decision possible for you and your family. I know that the schools are trying their best. The districts are trying their best to put every precaution in that they can to make sure that the kids, should they return back to school, that we can do so in the safest manner as possible. Now, that does not mean that, you're not going to have cases. I expect spikes of numbers to go up. As we already know, schools are a breeding ground for all those little funny viruses and sicknesses and colds and flu and everything else.
Right.
That goes without saying. All we're doing now is adding COVID-19 to the one of many things that kids could catch attending school with one another. As Leon has stated, there is something to be said about that face-to-face, especially in the first couple of weeks of school. That is where you can set the tone for the rest of your school year. If you put in that work, them first couple of 2-3 weeks of school, establishing rules and procedures, then that can set how your May will go. What you do in August can determine what happens in March and in April and May, believe it or not. So it is important. There are also a lot of kids who do not have the benefit, and that's where those socioeconomic gaps start to come into play. You have a lot of students who do not have the support. Maybe parents are not educated at home to assist them with homework. Maybe they do not have Wi-Fi at home, or maybe you have a single mom who is working, and so now that middle school kid that we're saying, hey, we need you to get your work done, is having to take care of his younger siblings or her younger siblings, having to take care of that grandparent in the home. There are so many barriers that students have outside of the school building that make it difficult for success. I understand, and while, we initially were in an uproar, I can understand where our governor was saying we need to have some face-to-face. I get it. It's not easy to take because now I have to make a decision based on what we feel is best for our family. Right. I know initially our district had a strategy in place, a plan in place, and it basically went through different phases. And first phase, because the numbers are so high, we initially wanted to just have e-learning or the online learning, if you will, the virtual learning. And essentially we'll wait until the numbers start to stabilize. When the numbers start to stabilize, we'll have a hybrid model where students would go to school a couple of times. Half the students will attend school for a couple of days. Wednesday would kind of be a flex day where it gives them the opportunity to clean the school. And then the second half of students will come on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And while you're not in school, you would just be learning virtually. And then, of course, the third phase would be when the numbers come down and we felt it was safe to do so. We would then return to a full face-to-face school and take proper precautions in the meantime. This district also offered a virtual school through the district in which it would be a 1-year commitment. So for the entire school year, the students would be committed to that virtual school if there were health issues at home. So we want to make sure that we gave everybody the opportunity, but we want to, come in safely as possible. Now, with that being said, it's my understanding that the district may have to revamp and may have to offer some face-to-face from the beginning, and that could be difficult. But again, all our job is to do is to try to support whatever decision you and your family make that you deem is best for you and yours. And as an assistant principal, I tell anybody, my job is just to support. That is my job. As an assistant administrator, an assistant principal, my job is to support. My job is to support the teachers. My job is to support the students. My job is to support the parents. My job is to support the principal. That's my job. And so with that being said, I want to make sure that we do everything that we can within our building to make sure that everybody is safe, as safe as possible. We want to make sure that we get the teachers what they need in order to be successful. We want to make sure that we get the students what they need in order to be successful and safe. And that's the best that we can do at this time. This is unprecedented times, and there is no perfect system. You can sit up there and say, hey, you know, I think all kids need to be homeschooled. Parents are going to have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we're going to do some e-learning. Parents are going to have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we're going to go to school face to face. Parents are going to have some problems with that.
No problem.
There is no way that we can make everybody happy. And that's why it's important that we at least provide options, and then you make the decision that is best for you and your family.
You know, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome that you all have thought about it and situated options, given options for them, as opposed to saying this how it is, deal with it. You know, so it gives everybody an opportunity. I was talking with my sister. She's a grandmother of 3 that she, you know, she takes care of. She's a guardian, and at 3 different ages, 3 different grades. And I think they talked about, well, they asked her, you know, which they sent out a survey to see, pretty much as you were saying in South Carolina, did you want to come virtually, or do virtually, come in person, or the other option that you may mention, which is a little bit of both. Okay, so I think she's decided to just do virtually because my youngest grandniece, she has juvenile diabetes, you know, and then you got the other 2, and then of course my sister is my mother's caregiver, right? So with her having to be the one to take them back and forth to school, the different dynamics in different homes are different, and it's good when people can try to see. I heard you make mention, do what is best for your home. And some people, even when they look at everything though, what happens when they look at all the different options and they still don't know what's best for them, you know, because neither route seems to be the it route for them, you know. What would you say to someone who's dealing with that? Because you may mention that it's pretty much making a commitment. If you say I'm gonna go virtually, you have to go virtually all year, right?
Well, that's if they go through the district, and that's a lot of times you may have, for example, you may have some students who live with an elderly grandparent who may be more susceptible to the virus, and it would, you know, again, lend itself to having more adverse effects against, you know, somebody who is older. So because of that, you may choose to opt to go virtually. What we don't want to have, what we want to do is we want to at least have it to where we know what our numbers are. And that way it's not, hey, I want to go virtual. Nah, I changed my mind. I'm going face to face. Never mind. I don't like this. I'm going back virtual. So the point was that the district wanted to do a virtual school for the entire year. Now, after the school year is over, then you could go back to whatever school you're zoned for. But again, that's what that was for. There are some kids who have health issues. There are kids who may be more susceptible because they have respiratory illnesses or, you know, asthma or whatever it may be. So we want to make sure that we keep everybody as safe as possible, and again, lend them options. Now, again, there's no perfect system, and that's why I said you have to choose what is best. There is nothing perfect. If my
Even
wife and I
before the
have
pandemic.
to, what's that?
I said, excuse me, even before the pandemic.
That's true. That's true. And my wife and I are trying to weigh, what are we going to do? I know that I will be going back to school. You know, as a school administrator, I know I will be going back. Right. My wife is also in education. She's a school counselor. Does she have to go back? Can she work virtually? Because that can change the dynamic. Now that can change. All right, well, will the boys be staying with her if she's able to work from home? If she has to go back, now what are we going to do? What are we going to do? So again, there's no perfect system. We're trying to figure it out the best we can. And again, we're fortunate. I'm not even going to sit up there and you know, complain too much, because I know that if push comes to shove, I know we have a safe place that we can send our boys, you know, but not everybody can do that. And so again, you want to make sure that you try to do whatever is best for you and your family. And as a school and as a district, we're going to try our best to support you in that endeavor.
Well, you put some good stuff out there, man. You know, which is encouraging, letting everyone know that the administrators of school, you know, the district is definitely looking at different options, you know, to fit whatever that family is, but also encouraging people to find that route that best fit for you. You know, the best route out of the three, or the ones that's given, you know, and just encourage people to probably look amongst their village, you know, to see who, because sometimes there are people that you didn't consider, you know, or people who are willing to just rise up now. They would love to help you. You'd be surprised who would say, you know, this is something I can do. People are looking for something to do, you know, and so maybe it's somebody that you trust that you can, you know, tap into and help, you know, and kind of like stay in a bubble with that. I'm gonna come back to you, Leon DeBerry. Are you a parent?
Yes. As a
How
matter
many
of fact,
kids?
I have one daughter.
Okay.
She's 17. She's going into her senior year.
Okay.
So we have had to have that conversation. My wife and I sat her down and we talked to her to kind of get her viewpoint on what she wanted to do, because she had the option of either doing virtual or face to face.
Okay.
Listened to her views, and both my wife and I talked to her about what we thought would be best. And we came to a conclusion and a decision together that face to face was what she was going to try. Now in our district, if the high school students, once they have made the choice of virtual or face to face, they are committing to that particular decision for a semester. So if she decides that face to face was not really for her, then she can revisit that decision in December, so that the next semester she might, if she wants to do virtual.
I like that now. Yeah.
I like
So
that.
we were talking about with her being a senior, you know, and she was, you know, in her mind, she was dancing around, you know, things that seniors from this past school year had to deal with as far as graduation, and some of the things that they could have enjoyed, but because of the pandemic, you know, and for safety reasons, they couldn't. So, but we talked about what really matters. You know, all those things during your senior year are good, but if circumstances do not allow, what's really important?
Right. Right.
The
Well,
education piece is still important. But that was one of the things personally in our family that we really had to talk about and really come to terms with, and making sure that, you know, she's comfortable with the decision that was made. But we did give her some buy-in to it as well by being, you know, a teenager, and, you know, and she even had some reservations at first. And we gave her an opportunity to express those reservations, and, you know, just openly, how do you feel about it?
right.
And, you know, and sometimes it's best even in our families that we allow, because sometimes children do have certain reservations.
Come on.
And,
Good.
you know, Michael, as well as myself, know that we're going to have students that are going to come in that we're really going to have to do some social, emotional types of things with, because even with this pandemic, there's students that have that fear and anxiety, and helping them to kind of come to terms with, you know, first we have to realize that we're going to have those issues.
Yeah.
We're going to have students that are going to come back into our schools and classrooms that are one or more grade levels behind. That can really damper a student emotionally. You know, academically is one thing, but emotionally, what does that do to a kid? So, you know, you have to kind of take those things into consideration. So just knowing what we are going to have to face once they come back. And like I say, these are, you know, unprecedented times. And I mean, we you know, we have to be ready. Because we don't know, the same student that might have left in March, that student, even though they've moved to the next grade, even if they're in the same building, we don't know how that student's going to be when they come back. We don't know what kind of experiences they might have had during this time.
Exactly.
Experiences that they've never had before, that their family has never faced.
Right.
I've had a death in the family over the pandemic. You know,
That's right.
so those are so many things. There's so many emotions
Right.
that, and even social things.
Mhm.
Students, even the fact of not being able to have meals, you know, so we have to really think about that kind of thing, and recognize that we're going to have that coming in. Be prepared to kind of to help, you know, reassure them that we care and that we're going to do everything possible to help them.
Man, I have chills, I have bumps on me right now because I'm so proud of both of y'all. I'm so encouraged of the spirit that abides in both of you. And I'm hoping that somebody, some viewer, some parent is encouraged in knowing that these are the kind of teachers, these are the kind of administrators, you know, that's waiting for your kids, you know? I mean, that you got this kind of mind frame, you have this kind of heart. That is an awesome light, you know, and they're going to be able to tell that. They're going to be, like you said that earlier, they're going to be able to sense how you feel, that you care when they come, that your care, that while you're being cautious, but that your compassion, you know, is demonstrated greater than your cautiousness, you know? And so that's big and that's powerful. Now, both of you spoke to the measurements that's been taken, the precautionary measurements that's been taken in school. Now, before I ask this question and tell you about this story, Mike, have you noticed, I mean, have y'all talked about, asked Leon about the classroom, what different adjustments are y'all making there, the facility for the kids and for your own selves?
Well, right now, the biggest thing that we're looking at are the numbers. Again, right now, I'm not sure exactly what we're going to wind up doing starting off the school year. We need to make sure that our plans are, you know, approved by the State Department of Education. I'm not sure if the initial plans were accepted or not, and if not, then we're going to have to come up with something else. Now, with that being said, our biggest thing is just making sure that we have the numbers that allows social distancing. The students as well as teachers are going to be required to wear masks in the building.
They're required to wear masks.
Yes, they will be required to wear a mask. Administrators as well. We're going to kind of stagger how students are dismissed. We want to make sure that students have time for the restroom, but at the same time, we're not having it to where, you know, you have multiple kids within the restroom. There are just different things that we're trying to do. We want to make sure that the way we clean the building and the frequency in which we do so is increased. So again, those are little things that we're trying to do. We want to make sure that we have masks available. We want to make sure that we have hand sanitizers available. We want to make sure that we have little stations, if you will. We want to make sure that we just continue to encourage the students to practice social distancing, continue to encourage the students to wear their mask, to continue to encourage the students to try to be as safe as possible. Leon already alluded to it earlier that it's difficult. Kids, they're social beings, especially around this age. They're just social beings. They gravitate towards one another. You know, they'll walk down the hall and hit somebody for no reason. It's like, dude, what are you doing that for? You know, they have to have that social interaction. And that's the difficult part with kids. You know, you look around society right now, adults can't even figure this out. We can't even get adults to practice social distancing and wearing a mask. So, you know, we're just going to have to keep preaching that to the students hey, we're doing this to be safe. I know it's not fun. I know you don't want, I know you want to, you know, you want to play with this person. I know you, but we need for you to, you know, be safe. And especially in middle school, man. I mean, these kids trying to come to school with swag, you know, look, find a mask with some swag and, you know, and everything else. I got a 49ers mask and, you know, decorate and all. Yeah. So you just want to encourage the kids to be as safe as possible and do the same for the teachers.
I like that. I like that. And that's one thing. And I guess, I mean, you can definitely incorporate it. And Leon, you can probably incorporate this too or whatever, you know, just to that's the kind of, you know, I used to be a parent teacher at John P. Thomas Elementary School in Columbia. And I worked directly with the principal and the assistant principal. I was PTA president, you know, but she created a position for me after a while to help with student and staff morale, you know, and with the parents. And so I was coordinating the different activities, you know, pep rallies and things like that. And so I know how creativity plays a big part in calming everything down. You know, creativeness helps the atmosphere on so many different aspects. And for you to just have contests or something with your mask, you know, and so whoever, you know, and, you know, this week, this mask and whoever, you know, we may design some mask or whatever, but just making the reality of what's going on a part of what we're doing, integrating it pretty much, not acting like it's an elephant in the room and it doesn't exist, or as if to say, hey, that's out there, we're in here now, we got to do this, but to some kind of way be able to merge, you know, your creativity, your compassion with everything that's going on. Like both of you alluded to, you know, there are people, and Leon was saying, and I was thinking that there are kids who have had parents or grandparents or some relative who have been affected by, you know, by COVID-19. They come in with different emotions. Being able to stop math or stop science or something and probably speak, you know, about an incident that took place, so that it can get, by you doing that, it takes it out of their mind, gives them opportunity to speak on, like you both of you say, let them know you have a voice, you know, the little kids, the big kids, you'd be surprised, you know, but give them a voice. From a parent standpoint, both of y'all have spoken, and you made mention is how you, you know, the different things that the schools are doing to prepare. But you made mention that you all are mandated to wear masks. I know that YMCA, I don't know if y'all heard this news, recent news, YMCA had a camp and 250 campers and staff contracted the disease, was affected with COVID-19. So they had to close down the camp. There was not a mandate for masks. It was like strongly suggested, but of course, most of them didn't wear it. It's not to say that all of them got it from there, but these are the 250. This is the common place that these 250 individuals have it at, you know. So what do you say to something? Do y'all have something have you heard? Do you have something in place? Because they closed down this camp. So is that the same thing that will probably take place in school? Have they talked about that at all? As if, you know, hey, if things spike up and this takes place, this is the next step. And both of y'all to speak to that. Tell me what you've heard.
Well, I know from our standpoint, one of the things that we want to try to do is with middle school, it's a little bit difficult compared to elementary school, where pretty much they're in one class and they're, you know, with one teacher. Now, I know in Leon's grade, they may vary, you know, maybe they go to ELA and social studies teacher, and then they go to a math and science teacher. So it may be a little bit difficult with Leon's with fifth grade and stuff, but the early, you know, the younger kids, it's a little easier because you're basically within a bubble within your classroom. Now, as far as the middle school,
that's good.
It's different because you're talking about multiple teachers. And so now what we want to do is, if a student were to contract or display symptoms of COVID, then one of the first things that we're going to do, of course, is notify the nurse. We want to isolate that student as quickly as possible, notify the parents to come pick them up. What we also want to do is go ahead and start looking at the classes that student has attended, so that way we can start trying to track and trying to,
Right.
trying to basically figure out, who may have been exposed, or where that student may have been affected. Now, the student is supposed to go to their doctor. Of course, they're supposed to quarantine and everything else, and basically not able to return until they have
tested again.
A test, yes, a test basically stating, hey, it wasn't COVID. This kid just has a cold, and basically at that point, that's when that student may be able to return. Again, outside of that, have to be symptom free, for I think 10 days or whatever it may be, no fever, without the aid of any medication, Tylenol or ibuprofen or anything of that nature. So there are little things that we have going on. We have to notify the district and everything. But again, this is not perfect. We're trying the best we can with all of these kids. It is going to be difficult. It is going to be difficult. And then you have some parents who, you have parents now, and Leon can attest to this, where a kid is sick and the parent sends the kid to school nonetheless because they have to go to work. And
right.
So they'll send the kid to school, and then it's not until the kid is, hey, I got a fever, I'm throwing up or whatever, and they get sent to the nurse, then the nurse calls the parent, say, hey, I need you to come pick this child up. But if they can send the kid, even if the kid has symptoms, they're going to. And so that's where we have to just be cautious, and we have to be careful, and we have to be honest, because we want to contain this. We don't want this spreading, but parents, the community is going to have to work with us in order to make this as safe as possible.
So Leon, are y'all going to have as he was saying, a lot of parents will send their kids on anyway, and I've seen that in school, because I got to go to work, I just don't even want home with me right now, will they be taking temperature? Do y'all have procedures in line for that, to check, to verify before they come in? And then, as I asked Mike, in case of some spiking that goes on, have y'all talked about how does that look and what would y'all do?
Well, first of all, as Michael said, I know the districts in Georgia right now are making decisions about making a mask mandate. That, of course, has not come down yet about a mask mandate. It's suggested, but it's not required.
Strongly suggested.
Now, of course, for us, we are to wear masks, which I feel is important. And I feel that if the students see us with the mask on and knowing that we care about their safety, I'm thinking that some of our students will in turn probably, take on the mask. So,
do you plan to encourage that of your students?
I'm going to encourage. I know I can't mandate them, but I can really model the purpose and how important it is to wear one. But there again, it's still up to the parents to kind of help to reinforce that. So we're hoping that students will come to that realization of understanding the importance. Even in our 4th and 5th graders do departmentalize, so we do change classes. And one of the things we talked about is synchronized time frames when we get ready to change. That in the midst of that, there's sanitation that's going to go on before the next class comes in. Because
who has to do that?
It's a collaborative effort between our custodial staff and myself, especially if I know as a teacher that I had a student that was showing symptoms. We definitely want to make sure we take care of that particular area, or do some contact tracing to see where that student has been within that classroom within that time frame. So that's important. So once the sanitation is done, the next class will come in, and we'll continue with instruction. Our lunch, of course, will be done in the classroom. So that's to help contain the students in one area. Even with being outside, when the students go outside, we're going to have to stagger the outside times so there are not too many students, even with PE. You know, our students love to run around. You know, elementary kids love to run around. They love to play touch. So you kind of have to, it's going to take some strategic effort to kind of monitor that, to make sure that that doesn't get out of control.
Right.
So the monitoring piece is really going to be very important.
Right.
And, you know, even in elementary school, you know, if we talk about social distancing, you know, with the little one, we have to model, well, let us show you what that looks like.
Exactly.
So that, and as Michael said, within those first 2 weeks, we have really got to get the students to understand, okay, this is what social distancing looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is what washing your hands looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So those things that we may assume that the students know and have developed the ability to be able to do, we can't take for granted. We still have to make sure that they understand those things and practice them.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
you know, sometimes students will practice it in school, and they'll come home and they will start a whole new trend with their families based on what they have learned to do in school.
Yeah. It can go both ways, right? You know,
I've heard parents say, well, my child came home and said, Mr. DeBerry said, do it like this.
Yeah. And that's that good thing. That's that good side that, because I was going to say, maybe they come into school, they haven't been all that restricted or safe conscious at home because of their environment didn't call for it. But they come to school, both of y'all said, you know, you set the precedence from the beginning, you know, and kids want to be the one who get it right, you know, they want to do it right. And they'll say in a minute, you know, especially elementary kids, she too close to him, you know, she needed more back, Mr. DeBerry, you know, I can say, you know, and so all by establishing this from the beginning, you know, and I would say do an reward system, you know, a reward system kind of thing for those who seem to be, you know, implementing what you're trying to, you know, establish in the classroom. All of that, once again, that creativity, those reward systems, stuff, all of that goes into play. We got to merge all of that together. It takes all of that, not just thinking education, you know, but bringing it. And both of you have personified that, you know, that we care. We're going to do whatever we have to do, you know. So y'all have encouraged me about, and I thank God though, I don't have a student to send back to school. You know, mine is in college. You know, Mike's godson, it goes to GSG, Georgia State University. You know, and he's like, Shabak ain't playing. He's been wanting to get with his friends and everything, you know. And then we were like, you know, what are they doing? You know, are you sure? You know, but at first he was trying to keep the distance and everything. But then after a while, you know, come on, after months. And like Mike said, you know, we as adults, you know, some of us not doing it. I walk past people, you know, I'm got my mask on now, and I'm looking at, I'm walking in the street on the sidewalk just to avoid people, you know. And I'm like, they're not even trying to avoid me. What's up? And in the stores, you know, and I was in the store the other day that they had these big old, I'm visually impaired. I could see these big old circles on the floor. And I know the lady saw it in front of me in CVS. And I was like, you know, so I couldn't move to the circle I needed to because she was in between circles. So the people behind me looking, I'm like, I'm not moving until she, you know. And you got some people, and then you don't want to say nothing to nobody, because I'm not about to tell you, can you get in that circle, please? Can you move up, please? You know, I've heard of a lot of stuff taking place, you know, so but y'all are encouraging me to know that you're this conscious, but you're also this compassionate, you know, and you're thinking about it, you know, and you're connected with people. Now, have either one of y'all, before we get ready to conclude, have either one of y'all heard anybody say, I'm not going back, from a teacher or professor, administrator?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you, Leon?
Yes. And, you know, they do have that option. Our district did open the option for teachers to that we have already in the district to sign up to be virtual teachers.
Same
Some of
here.
those teachers have pre-existing conditions, and they have those fears and anxieties within themselves, which they felt safer for them to teach virtually.
Okay. So I was wondering about that, whether that was going to create a problem with reducing the amount of kids in the classroom.
And see, that's going to reduce our in-class students, because our district, we have about 57% of our student population in our district that have really decided to do virtual. So that's going to make a difference in our individual classrooms as far as class size.
So in a case like that, those particular teachers who opt not to come back but to do virtually, they will be just assigned to virtual students.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that's good, man. That's good. Listen, I want to say this to any parent out there. These are the kind of vessels that you got going back, into the schools with your students and with you. Be compassionate, be loving to them. And a lot of times teachers, y'all don't, and administrators don't say, hey, be kind to me. Bring me some cookies, bring me some flowers and some balloons, but I'm telling you, we need to do this because these are those who parent, y'all said it. These are those who parent, we take them on as kids. You take them as your own kids. So they're parenting your children when you are not there. They're looking out for them. So you definitely want to make sure and be kind and loving and gentle and generous to those who are looking after your kids, and then just to say thank you, and more than just words, because I believe in like kindergartens and preschool say show and tell. So don't just tell me thank you, but show me thank you, And here, Mr. Glover, I know you. We appreciate everything you're doing. It's not a whole bottle of water, but it's some water in here, Mr. Glover. I be thirsty. So, but those things make a difference. Wouldn't y'all say they make a difference?
It does. We don't do it for that, but it does feel good when people acknowledge, and Leon can attest, when those former students come back and it was like, oh, you were my favorite teacher, or I love being in your class, or I miss you. That's when you're kind of like, man, there's some kids that I would sit up there and I would hear that from. I'm like, man, I didn't even think you liked my class, but they loved it, or years later they'll come back, Mr. Glover, I love being in your social studies class. That was my favorite and stuff. I'm like, wow, really? As much as I fussed at you, but that's how they knew I cared. I used to tell them in a heartbeat. I said, as long as I'm fussing, I care. I said, you need to worry when I stop fussing. When I stop fussing at you, that's when you need to worry, because that means I don't even care anymore. And so they knew as long as I stayed on them, it was because I knew that they could do better. And that's all I was trying to do, was push them to do better. And Leon alluded to it earlier. I promise you, there is nothing that I ever said to a student that I wouldn't say if that was my own son or daughter sitting in front of me. Nothing.
I know you like that. You've done that. We work together with young people at church,
Yes.
in the community. And I've just seen you to be just that, and I know how Leon is. So, that's why I'm so glad to have you both here tonight on this platform, to be able to give a positive light and hopefully to bring some ease to some parents who are sending their kids back, to know that there are people there who understand, who can empathize with where you are, because you're there also. But at the same time, you're going in with a positive mind and you're saying, we're going to do this. We can make this happen. We're dealing with abnormal situation, a new normal, but we can make it work. That's what I hear from all of you, And so I appreciate y'all both so much for that. Now, are there any, I want to ask this before we get your closing words. What about the Wi-Fi and the tablets? Are they being provided for the students? Because I know here in Atlanta, they've been trying to, they've been accumulating tablets and stuff to issue out. So is that the same thing with you all?
Yeah, we're actually looking at the numbers of students who are going to need devices at home for virtual, and even to the point of if we have to go to a total shutdown, that students that we have face to face, that if they would have to do virtual, if they have a device. And for those that don't have Wi-Fi access, the district is looking into doing having hotspots for those students.
Okay, so the hotspots, then they'll have to drive to the hotspot.
Yeah.
But it should be close to their location. They're gonna actually look at where the students are as far as location and how many students are going to need it in that particular area.
Okay.
And look at how many hotspots they're going to need.
Okay. And Mike, how does that look on your side?
Same thing. We're pretty much a one-to-one district with the Google Chromebooks. I think there's going to be a little bit, it's going to be a little different for our 4K and kindergarten. But I believe 1st through 12th, should be one-to-one. I know in the spring, my son was receiving paper packets. And but now as a 2nd grader, he's going to get his device. Same thing, we have hotspots around the district to meet those needs. They also have some personal Wi-Fi devices that if you're in need, that you can contact the district, and they can basically provide you with a little personal hotspot in addition to having hotspots around the schools. I know a neighboring district, they partnered with some churches in the neighborhood. They're a little bit more rural. And because of that, they partnered with some of the churches, and the district basically paid for the Wi-Fi for the church if they would open their doors for students to come in between like 4 and 7 or something like that, where the students can come in and use the hotspots in the church within the certain time, and then the district would pay for the Wi-Fi to help them out. So this is, everybody's trying their best to do the best they can to support the kids in the community.
That's good. That's good. It's working together, the village. And like I said earlier, it's working together with the kids. Touch base with people that's connected to you. They probably will look out and help you out, because sometimes it's a thing of, just so many, it's about working together, coming together. And we can do this. Well, y'all have helped me out. Just I like to be positive, minded, and I like to encourage people all the time. But at the same time, you hear stuff all the time on the news. You got to balance how much you're hearing, and you're hearing different things and from different perspectives, And so just to be reminded and just to know that there are vessels, there are positive vessels, caring, loving, ready vessels, that's going back with your kids. Your kids is not going back out there, they're going back, who are going to be looking after your kids. That's an awesome thing to encourage somebody tonight. So what would you all what would be your closing words? Mike, I'm gonna let you go first, and Leon, since he was first to log in, I'm gonna let him go last. So Mike, what would you like to say, be it to students, parents, staff, teachers? What would you like to say to encourage them in going back?
Well, first of all, I'd like to, again, thank you for this opportunity just to use this platform to try to inform, to educate, and just to provide perspective on what's coming down the pipeline, for schools. This is very difficult, on so many levels, the district level, the state level, within the classroom. This is a difficult time, and families have difficult decisions to make. The one thing that I would say is to look at your situation, look at the options that is provided by your school district, and just try to make the best decision possible for you and your family. There are so many different mitigating circumstances that will weigh in, whether it's health, whether it's work, age of the children. So there are so many different circumstances and factors that weigh into it. But make the decision that works best for you and your family. Please know that your district, your school, your teachers will support you the best way that we can. We want your child to be successful. We want to do everything that we can to help your child be successful. It is a partnership. We cannot do it without you. And so I would encourage you all to just make sure that you continue reaching out and communicating with the schools. And we'll reach out to you, give you as much information as we can. When we find out information, we try to disseminate that to the communities to allow them the opportunity to make the best decision possible for them and their families. So I encourage you all to be strong, to be faithful, and to know that we are doing everything that we can to support you and your child. And other than that, I pray that you all have a blessed school year, no matter what that may look like for you.
And I can attest, coming from the words of Glover, Michael Glover here, Michael Glover Jr., this is my family. I mean, my other heart brother. I mean, and he is my son's godfather. So, you know, I know of his heart and his integrity, you know, to trust him over my son's life, you know. So as everything that he has said, that you said, Mike, everything that he has said, I know to be what I have seen him demonstrate, you know, not only with my son, his godson, but with all the young people I've seen him work with. And that makes me happy. And I'm hoping that encourages, and I wish I could just clone you, you know, and put you in everything out there, whatever. And so now Leon DeBerry, another brother who I know so well, my fraternity brother, known for decades, and who has been awesome and passionate and just, a concerned brother, serious, but a brother, and as he's expressed already, a brother with heart, you know, and that's the thing. And I was telling Leon earlier when we came on here, I said, man, I feel like it's a battle with you, you know, and it's because I'm being connected with his spirit again, you know, and it's an awesome thing. And that spirit is going back to bless all of those other ones that you're connected to. So Leon, what are your parting words, man, or your words of encouragement to everyone?
Let me first say, Daryl, I'm very honored to have had the opportunity to be here tonight and to join in this wonderful discussion.
Thank you, man.
Just realize that I don't take that lightly at all.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't either. Thank you.
And, you know, just realizing that these are some very tough times. Mm-hmm. And we all are having to make some very rough and tough decisions because especially in the area of education, we have to realize that we're all working together for a common purpose. Mm-hmm. But even our purpose has some added value because we have to realize that we're educating in the midst of a pandemic. And there's some concern, there's some fear and anxiety, but we're working to kind of help to alleviate as much of that as possible. And we hope, and our prayer is that parents will realize that we still care about their children. We still want to take that extra care that we always have, no matter what decision we make. And if we don't have the resources, we'll point them to the resources that they need. And it's important that the community at large understands that the purpose of education hasn't changed. And some community partners have really stepped up to the plate and reached out to school districts to help in whatever way they can to the students and meet their needs and the schools. And that's so important.
It is
so important. And just to help parents and students and even fellow educators realize that we're walking into a different territory as the school year begins. But we also have to understand that our purpose hasn't changed. And even in the midst of the pandemic, it's even a greater purpose, but it's nothing that it's things that we have never experienced before. but we have to understand that we're in it to help students to be the very best that they can be.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And I just say, as I'm listening to you, and first of all, both of you are men of faith, and that makes the difference as you go back. Both of you are men of love, you know, that makes the difference. Both of you are parents of kids, you know, that makes the difference when you go back, you know. I say to parents, as I said earlier, I echo, care for those who care for our children. Let us care for them as they care for our children. And if we do that, that community, you know, and covering each other is taken care of. And 3 different times I thought about something and you said it before, you were like up in my head. And the last thing was the community partnership, you know, and I'm like, dude, he's saying something in my head again, you know, but you already went to it. And so if we do that, we're going to be good. Before we go, y'all, I just want to listen to Mark, if our producer, Mark Peterson, if you would play just a portion of the last words of John Lewis, Congressman John Lewis. Just listen to just a little bit, fellas, and audience. I guarantee you it's going to bless you as we move forward back into the school system. I know he's trying to get it. We're going to see if we can get it. And as he's trying to get that, Mark, once you get it, just go ahead and start it. Don't wait for me to stop talking. I'm going to just say this while you're working on that. I just want to admonish and to piggyback what I said earlier, and Glover made mention about the churches who was connected. If you are part of a church, a nonprofit organization, community organization, Greek organization, you know, touch base with some schools and see how is it that I can help make things easier here. You know, adopt a school. This is a good time to adopt a school and to see how can I help make things easier here. So Mark, we have problems with that?
Okay, Ron, just go ahead and mute your mic while this plays and try it again. All right, just come on back and get Ron. It's not working.
Okay, that's cool. Listen, I want to encourage everyone. We just try to share with you here a peek of it and then encourage you to go listen to the rest of it. I encourage you. You're going to be blessed. You're going to be encouraged. It's going to ignite a fire within you to go listen to the last words of Congressman John Lewis. He knew those would be the last words that he spoke to everyone. So I encourage you to go listen to those as soon as you get an opportunity. And I want to say this, we did not forget the first person who can comment in the box. I don't know whether it's now or later, but the first person to comment in the box, the saying, fill in the blank from John Lewis. He said that he has always believed in being about this, and he encourages everyone else to be about this. It is good blank. Good blank. I need you to, in the comment box, fill in good blank. We're going to touch base with you. Everybody will see who was the first one to do it, and you will be winning the cash prize, and I hope you got a cash app, all right? Good blank. Brothers, thank you. I appreciate you. Mark, I appreciate you taking care of things behind the scene. Appreciate our guest tonight, Leon DeBerry, and also Michael Glover Jr. God bless you all. God bless all of you who are going back to school. Know that though you may be on edge, that excellence is waiting for you. in the heart of people just like these. All right. And we speak that upon you all. Have a good day. Continue to be light. Have a good night. Y'all be good. Thank y'all so much, brothers.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All
Take
right,
care,
now.
Michael.
All right. Now take care. Good luck, Leon.
Good luck to you, Mike.
All right.
All right, y'all.
Oh yeah.
Tuning in. If you want live later.
DL gives rise Black Brothers View. Black Brothers View. Black Brothers View. Yeah, we going live Facebook, YouTube. Black Brothers View. Black Brothers View. DL gives rise
Y'all can see here on the
Black Brothers View. Black Brothers View. Stay tuned to Black Brothers View. Black brothers helping each other, sharing their views from cover to cover. Eclectic topics, different perspectives, keeping it popping, always respected. Facebook and YouTube, Friday nights at 9, we sharing and learning, yeah. We